Procedurally generated, permanent death, roguelikes allow their unique mechanics to be incorporated into any genre, resulting in a sea of diverse games with infinite possibilities. And with new unique roguelikes being released every single day, I like to play and analyze the ones that may not have had the chance to shine yet. If that sounds interesting, welcome to the series where we learn what works, what doesn't, and why, all in search to find the next big roguelike. Hear my cult. This seems to be a real-time strategy roguelike. Now, there aren't really that many RTSs in the roguelike subgenre, at least in my experience. The last one I've played that I can remember is one called Bad North, which unfortunately I wasn't a huge fan of. But Hear My Cult seems to be a kind of like a horror mix where like almost fourth wall breaking, where you're playing as someone who's playing a video game until you have apparently like all this gameplay stuff, but you're also in your room playing on the computer. I could imagine the developer having played a lot of Age of Empires, StarCraft, that kind of stuff, which I have as well when I was younger. So I'm kind of curious to check this kind of subgenre in the roguelike world. Now, this game is not out yet, but as of recording today, the demo is available on Steam. And this has been a game that's been in the works for 4 years, and it's been done by a solo developer. And once again, I say it every single time, massive props. Making a game by yourself is a whole lot of work and is very impressive. Also looks like there's a lot of content just from the little bit I've seen in these trailers, which I usually don't want to get too much spoilers, obviously. But I'm really excited because this seems to be a genre we haven't really covered on this channel in terms of roguelikes. So as per usual, I'm going to be playing for a few hours on my end, showcasing a little bit of the gameplay, and then I will give my overall thoughts later down in the video. So timestamps below if you want to skip ahead. Alright, let's check out Hear My Cult. Okay, here we are, tutorial. Left click to use your cult leader's main attack. Okay. Oh, okay, I got an achievement already. It's gonna be one of those games. Oh boy. You can destroy your environment. That's kind of cool. There's a chance while attacking for minion runes to appear on the ground. Press left click while standing on one will summon that minion at your command. Okay, so now I have this, this little guy. Hi there, buddy. You're so small. The chance for runes to appear on the ground performing a left click while standing on one will unleash a powerful special attack. Okay. Okay. Minions automatically attack on sight. Acolytes deal low damage, but their attack generate those black orbs. Oh, every single time it generates a black orb. Summon stronger minions by using the generated orbs. Now, how do I use those orbs, though? Oh wait, I can just press one of those buttons, right? On... So... I'm not too sure how to actually summon these. Oh, okay, special attack. Press E. Acolytes cost souls to summon. Souls are dropped from dead enemies. Okay, got it. Okay, so I can command my minions to move. That's nice. Clock B. Try to defend yourself. I will. Right click to send all your minions to attack an enemy. Control right click to send all minions in highlight group. Oh my gosh, this brings me back. So I can oh my goodness, yeah. I played a lot of I think Age of Mythology was really the one for me when I was younger. Been playing Absolute per your request. Jesus Christ, this game is so good. Ah, hell yeah. I'm really glad that people got to... Yeah, it's a fantastic game. It really is. Ah! What the... Get some snacks in the kitchen. Okay, that's what I was very curious about. So what do we have here? Static Whisper Echoes 4. Remember to sacrifice. I don't know if we're a very healthy individual. Remember to sacrifice. Okay, cool. I can see we have our priorities straight here. Is that a windmill? Scan the windmill. Scan the... Okay, well, I guess that answers my question. Buy groceries. There's no shop around, so tomorrow we go hunting. Wait, this is awesome. Wow, I'm loving this. It's kind of... I think they'll feed your guests. Who are my guests? Hello? Oh. Oh my goodness, you are freaking kidding me. What? No! This guest does not... Oh, goodness! I did not expect this to take such a dark turn so quickly. So messed up. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I have to review this game. Alright, I guess we're back at it. I will say, that's a really cool way to to get you invested in, you know, continuing to play to see what's going on outside of the game. Press tab or scroll the mouse wheel to cycle available minions. That's great. It said to scan this. How do I scan? Oh, there's an actual freaking QR code out up there. I mean, it did say I should scan the QR code, so I guess I don't have a choice. This is part of the game. You guys can protect me, right? Welcome to the cult terminal. Type summon to begin. Okay. Summon. Oh gosh. Summon link established. Greeting seeker. Few possesses the will to summon what lies beneath the vial. It's like a whole... Only those attuned to patterns and shadows will see the path. Keep your eyes open. The signs are buried within the game. Tree whispers. Rock remember. Retrieve all 18 fragments. Submit their truth. We will be watching. I mean, this is awesome. Like, again, it's like fourth wall breaking from the fact that you're playing a game within a game, but also you, myself, am playing the person playing the game in the game. It's a good start. This is quite unique so far. I'm really liking it. All right, what we got? You dash in your movement direction by pressing left shift. You know, it's funny because I feel like more and more we've had like games not use left shift anymore. It used to be like the go-to for like dashing, and now we have a lot more just games that are just so important about dashing, at least in the roguelike genre, that you just don't see that very often anymore. Ow. So it does seem like you get like my minions. The minion spawns are just kind of random, I think. At least currently. Your minions' maximum capacity detect how many minions you can be summoned. This can be further increased by summoning some specific minions, like lords. Each lord will increase minion capacity by 10. Okay. So those are like your elite guys. Foul silence. Oh, type that into the terminal. I bet it does something. Oh. Good point. Like in my like phone's terminal. Foul silence. Fragment 14 accepted. You gave your word in utter silence. Okay, so we found number 14. Sick. So I can't summon these guys. Oh wait, I can. Oh, that is a that's a lord. What the frick is that? Wait, is this binary? That's gotta be binary, right? This is the first thing that comes to mind, at least. So we're just kind of destroying. Like, are we the bad guys here? It's hard to tell, because I have evil-looking monsters, but there's also evil-looking monsters I'm destroying. I do seem to be destroying houses. Oh, we got another one. Candle 6. Fragment number 9. Accepted. The ritual left a permanent 9 across the floor. Okay. Wait, can I just go through here? I like the fact that you can kind of destroy the environment. Are we the bad guys here? It's hard to tell. Oh my gosh, you even get money from doing so? Okay, interesting. While the active group is selected, press Q to sacrifice. When sacrifice, Acolyte heal the cult leader. Ugh. Sorry. While the Furnace Assistant group is selected, press Q to sacrifice it. When sacrifice, Furnace Assistant trigger a powerful volcanic eruption, damaging all enemies around the cult. I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. Each minion has a unique sacrifice ability to be activated. These are very powerful abilities. These sacrifices will also grant Imotar's Blessing of Fire that increases cult's leader and minions damage by 10% for 10 seconds. Stacks infinitely. Okay, so there's like a balance of how much you want and how much you want to sacrifice, and that's gonna take a second to get used to, I imagine, because you have to know what's, like, when it's good to sacrifice versus not, right? So right now there's a bunch of them, so what if I just do boom, right? Did that? Was that worth it? We got a chest. We got our first chest. Oh, these are our roguelike stuff. Finally, so let's see. There's an 8% chance on minion the damage taken to trigger magma stone. Oh, which is increased critical strike chance by 15 for 8 seconds. I don't know if that stacks. 12% chance on minion damage taken trigger charge. Increase attack speed and increase movement speed. So, as someone who's played a lot of roguelikes, usually attack speed is generally the best thing you can just randomly take when you're not too comfortable with strategy, because it usually means that it can trigger more things because you attack more frequently, which means in return more things can occur. You do your thing. I'm gonna check out that secret that I found right here, Echo Stone. Again, I know I'm like looking at the whole game and this is just a demo, but I'm too invested here. Echo Stone. Fragment 1. The image repeats what was once forgotten. That was not binary? Okay, well, thank you for trying. Find the Guardian of Nowhere and slay it. Seems to be my mission here. I'm gonna explode. Press space to activate a strategic mode. In this mode, time slows down. Whoa! Okay, interesting. Analyze enemies and enemy and minion type are revealed, helping you match strength and plan smarter. Oh. Can I move? Oops, I did not mean to kill you in this mode. I'm sorry. Can I move the screen around? I don't think so. Okay, got it. Oh, wow, this is... Wow, that's really cool. There's so much money. Sacrifice 3 minions for me or what? Okay, fine, I'll sacrifice a few minutes. 2 and 3. Ah, yes, delicious obedience. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, I feel like I'm pretty powerful in this tutorial. I imagine that's not gonna be the case when we actually do a full run. Let's kill one of you. Kill one of you for fun. And voila! Oh, the sound effects are so disturbing. I love it. Aura gain, reliquim gain. Okay, yeah, because this is a roguelite, is my understanding. I'm very curious how that's gonna work. Wait, I can choose one of them? Spawn an idol statue in the next level. When destroy the idol, makes your main attack hurl repeated bolts of fire, dealing damage quickly. On the next level, when idol destroyed, makes your dash, movement speed, stacking up. Or when destroyed, the idol makes your main strike enemies in front of the leader, damaging them and also generating a high amount of threat. Let's do the flame throwing. Okay. Okay, we're now at the meta progression stuff. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a minute, wait, that seems like a lot of stuff. Because I imagine now I'm in like the roguelite, the actual stuff, right? This is not the tutorial anymore. This is considered a deck, which is fascinating. Wait, solve the cipher to get access to important areas of the terminal? That's in the tutorial? That's crazy. Alright, well, clearly this game has a lot to offer, even in this demo. So I'm going to continue on my end, and we'll circle back with my overall thoughts in just a moment. Okay, so we ended up finishing that run. We started a new one and actually beat the boss at the end, so I cleared the demo. And yeah, what an interesting game, I've gotta say. This is definitely one of the most unique experiences I've had on this series so far. First, I want to talk about the overall vibe and, you know, the whole immersion aspect. So again, it's split in from the gameplay to the kind of horror elements, and yeah, this game gets really spooky. Definitely one of the scariest games I've played on this series. This took me by surprise. The outside area where you're just walking around just for the plot is definitely an experience, one that I found very interesting. I could imagine some people being freaked out and weirded out by it, because at the very beginning of the demo, you find that you're actually hoarding people in the cages, and you very quickly learn that you're a very bad person. I kind of wish that the game would, I mean, maybe it's because of the demo, but I kind of wish that the game would like slowly reveal that you are just a terrible person. You actually get to learn that you actually are a dad and that you left your daughter for video games, stuff like that. It's messed up, and I actually really like it. I mean, you don't get a lot of these games that are really dark and, you know, like, oh, here's a little gameplay, and you realize that gameplay is the reason why everything is so disturbing. I'm definitely invested in the whole overall plot of the game. One of the coolest features was the fact that the game kind of pushes you to use your phone and to actually have to scan something, a QR code, and then you have to find things within the game to solve puzzles and then put it on your phone to reveal like secrets. And I don't know how impactful these things are in the game itself, but it was really cool. There was a moment where we had to, like, all the letters that we had to find throughout the gameplay, and then you find a code and then you put it on your phone and something weird happens. That was super, super cool. I really like that fourth wall breaking immersion thing. So massive props for that, especially as a demo. That was really fun and really cool. Now within the game itself, the gameplay in the computer of the gamer, right? The story also is, you know, way more straightforward, it would seem, but it still has a lot to it. You know, they explain, you know, like, oh, there's a demon, there's a whole cult, and like you have to do some sacrifices, and you have to please the servant, that kind of stuff. That's cool. And ultimately, the game has a lot in it, and like this demo is full of stuff. And so I guess we can now transition to the more of the gameplay stuff. the game has a ton of content that is currently locked, but that seems to show the player what they can expect from the full release. At the time of the demo, there were still a lot of units, a lot of artifacts. There's 2 heroes to start with, and it does seem like there's going to be 6 heroes in total, and they seem to play fairly differently from one another and have kind of different mechanics. There's even some cosmetics for your hero, bunch of artifacts to start with, starting decks. You can then modify your decks, because effectively the monsters that you summon, they're kind of part of your deck, so it's like almost like a deck building game, but not really. So the game seems to have a lot between all the units, artifacts, starting decks, and all that stuff, and you know, the outside world where there's this whole story unfolding. This game, yeah, looks like there's gonna be a lot. Okay, let's talk gameplay. This is fairly interesting because yes, it is kind of like an RTS, but it blends in other kind of genres and gameplays that really don't tend to blend with RTS. So, you know, RTS tends to be very slow pace, while this game is really fast pace. And that's very odd. Also, you can dash, but there's also unavoidable damage, which we'll talk about in a bit. So it's a bit of a mash of just a lot of already fairly niche kind of gameplay mechanics put together. So that is very unique. Currently, as someone who's played a lot of RTS games and fast-paced games and deck building games, I would say that some of these blends are a little too convoluted. So in RTS games, I like to take my time to figure out, you know, what's the best strategy and where to move things around. But here I just felt so fast that I didn't really want to spend the time to really strategize and to use a tactical view, because things would just appear, explode, die, attack instantly. So I kind of wish there was a better direction, whether more fast pace or more RTS, where you could spend more time figuring things out, because I didn't fully understand the strategies, because you summon minions constantly. They all have unique effects when you kill them by sacrificing them, which is cool, so you can just constantly add things, but then you also have to find specific resources, and then you have to keep track of certain things. And ultimately, even though I did understand, you know, like what my minions would do when they would be sacrificed, it's really hard to keep track of where they are, how much health they already have, because the best strategy naturally would be to, you know, sacrifice their units when they're low on health, so you could actually still benefit from the full effect of the sacrifice, but not, you know, get rid of all their health super quickly and kind of waste a lot of their potential before being sacrificed, if that makes sense, right? So it was a little confusing, and a lot of times, especially when there was a lot going on, I would just kind of be sacrificing a bunch of random units and then things would die around me. I wish things were, honestly, I wish things were slower. I wish things were slower and had more strategy. And maybe there is more strategy, but it didn't feel like I had the time to really experiment with it. I didn't feel like it was pushing me to do so. And that's also linked to your hero itself. Your hero has a basic attack. Sometimes you might be able to upgrade that basic attack temporarily, but when you do, then the minions don't feel as impactful. And more importantly, there are some glyphs that are randomly going to appear, and it's just going to do a lot of damage around you. These are just there, and if you use them, you deal a lot of damage. So having that there all the time made my units feel less impactful, if that makes sense, right? They're important, but ultimately I could just go around, grab all the rituals, just do a massive explosion, then summon a bunch of stuff from that. It's super weird. It's hard for me to really wrap my head around everything. But at the end of the day, I guess the gameplay was a little confusing, a little too fast-paced, and felt a little unbalanced with certain elements, right? Because if I had a good, like, basic attack and I just found a bunch of these exploding altars, then I was just fine, and if I didn't, I would get in trouble. Which also means that with everything going on, I didn't know how powerful my units were. I don't know if this unit is better than the other, because even though I can read the text, I can't conceptualize those numbers, because again, everything was just so chaotic. If that makes sense. And yes, there is a tactical mode view which slows down time, which is cool, but I just didn't feel like I should or wanted to use it that much because of how fast-paced everything else was, right? So the gameplay currently for me is the biggest question mark in terms of like how they might polish some of these elements. Now, in terms of the roguelike progression, there is meta progression, right, outside where you're able to, you know, buy new starting decks, artifacts, which I talked about. I don't know if there's going to be like actual permanent upgrades to your character. I feel like this could be the kind of game that could have that. I'm very curious how the overall progression of the game, like full release game, is going to be, because I don't know if you're gonna have to beat a run to unlock a new world and a new I think, yes, it's going to be by chapters, I think. So it's going to be kind of like a campaign like roguelike, if that makes sense, which I think is going to be pretty exciting for this kind of game. That means you're going to be like unfolding more and more of the story as you complete chapters, would be my guess, which is cool. It's kind of like Inscryption, and that is always super interesting to do in these kind of games. It's kind of like a Slay the Spire grid where you choose one level at a time. You have certain events, you have shops. Currently, there's not that much available in terms of the events of the shops, but obviously there's going to be more in the full release, I imagine. And then every time you go to a level, you have a particular quest that you have to do to complete the level, as well as some kind of like an event tied to it where, you might be like some earth elementals are going to come up, or like some fire altars that you have to deal with. That's cool. But again, it's inherently this handicap of mashing blends, right? Where since there is like all these different levels that you kind of want to go fast through, right? You can't take your time to really experiment with the strategic aspects of a lot of RTS games. So I get it, right? I don't know how you can solve this quote-unquote issue that I have, where I want things to be slower, but also there's a whole map to go through where you have a bunch of battles and you don't want to spend an eternity on a single run, right? Because you want to progress the story, you want to see more things, you want to have more runs. So on one end, I totally get the fast pace. I would love slower pace, but also maybe not, because then everything else will be too slow. So maybe just everything be faster? I don't know. But again, this was just from playing a little bit, like just over 2 hours myself. And this is just a demo. So throughout your roguelike progression, you're going to find some artifacts. These artifacts are your usual passive effects from roguelikes. They're pretty straightforward. I feel like all of them are just like X chance to trigger something, which are usually just numbers. Everything is kind of number related. So like every time you take damage, there's an X chance of something happening. Every time you deal damage, there's an X chance of something happening. Every time your minions deal damage, X chance of happening. Every time you do a crit, X chance of happening. Yeah, I mean, they're very basic, and I think that's understandable considering that there's so much more complexity with everything else around the gameplay. So this is one of the few times where I feel like for a roguelike, I'm okay with the passive effects being very simple, just number generation effects that are all mostly just luck-based, all things considered. Yeah, I think it kind of fits this kind of game. I hope there's going to be some more interesting artifacts moving forward, but I would imagine that would be the case. Okay, so that's my broad view of the demo, and now I want to talk about more specific notes that I wrote down. And actually, most of it is just linked to the gameplay to an extent. I think some of the reasons why things were still very confusing and kind of felt chaotic, there's a lot of random things that occurred during the gameplay that are kind of weird. One of them is, again, the unavoidable damage when you're being targeted by like a mage, right? So in RTS games, when you get targeted by a ranged attack, you can't avoid it. That's just part of the nature of this genre, right? Because it's a strategy game. But here, again, the fact that you can dash around at this really fast pace is kind of weird, because I get to see, some enemies are about to do an explosion, I can dash away, and then I also get to see some enemies from far away that are like shooting something at me, and I try to dash away naturally, because that's usually what you do in these games that have a dash, but you can't really seem to avoid it. I'm not even sure if you can or cannot, because again, there was too much going on, but maybe there is if you dash at the last second, but it feels a little unnatural in this kind of game, but I don't think that is the case anyway. And also, a lot of RTS games where if an enemy is shooting you and you can't avoid it, which is normal, usually you get to see those enemies from far away and you have time to react and plan. But again, here, a lot of enemies spawn randomly next to you, and the gameplay is so fast that you can't really fully react to these kind of things. So I would find myself taking a lot of random damage here and there, and I didn't really understand why. And when I would just see like those projectiles from far away shooting at me, it felt a little frustrating and kind of weird, because it blends two things that are really not normally together. Fast-paced gameplay with RTS things where it's supposed to be slow-paced. Again, it's super unique, but very weird. Healing is also kind of weird. Sometimes you can heal very quickly through certain effects, sometimes you can't. And I tend to struggle seeing games that have like a healing path on like a Slay the Spire grid, but also have healing as a core gameplay mechanic. For me, like games that have like those healing paths are games where you really can't be healing consistently. And here in this game, it felt like I could either have a run or a level where I could heal fully in like 2 seconds or not at all. So healing seems a little odd to me. I kind of wish that healing was maybe either you could constantly heal whenever you can or whenever you want, and you kind of find ways to balance that, which I could see be tricky, or you make healing just naturally close to impossible on your own. You take away a lot of the ways to take damage constantly if you have the ability of dashing, and then you make those healing areas much more interesting or much more important. Or something else, I don't know. But currently it felt like it was a little unbalanced, what I could heal, what I couldn't, and that kind of stuff. I do wish that you could kind of select your units that you would summon, you know, like an RTS. Again, we're back to the same issue all the time, which is that would make the gameplay slower probably, and you don't really want to do that. But the fact that basically your units that you summon, they just kind of randomly appear and you can choose to summon them. I get it. It's because my understanding is that they want to make, you know, the player not have to think too much at every single moment, and you just see them on the floor and you're like, I'm gonna summon that, I'm gonna summon that. But again, I kind of wish that you could, and that you can strategically choose to, you know what, I'm gonna go all in on a zombie build or like a bat build, and you just only summon these guys, and then you can choose to summon like 4 every single fight, and then like 2 of these guys, and you kind of plan around that. That's me though. I don't think it's an issue at all. I think it's just my own view on it. Having them just on the floor and just randomly spawning things made things feel kind of automatic, which kind of once again brought down the whole strategy aspect even further, to me at least. So yeah, overall, Hear My Cult might be one of the most unique and interesting games I've featured on this channel. I think for a demo, this game is currently, this is really impressive, really cool. While I do struggle a little bit with the gameplay currently, I think this game has the potential of being something really, really impressive and very unique. You know, the outside world element are super cool and creepy. The whole immersion with the phone is something I really have not seen a lot. There seems to be a ton of content, so much work put into the world within the game, but also the world outside of the game. There's a ton of content. The music is awesome. I don't know if the music currently was scored for the game or not, but I mean, I love the vibe, really do. I have so many questions, and that's a good sign. So I do hope that they're going to find ways to honestly change the gameplay a little bit, at least to my liking. I think they should either slow down or speed up the gameplay and just kind of adjust things around it. I think right now it's kind of like in the limbo between 2 kinds of gameplay styles. I wouldn't myself know exactly what to do in this instance, because this seems to be a fairly complicated game overall. But I'm sure with enough time I could definitely think of ways of navigating this very unique game, and I'm sure that they will as well. And maybe I'm the only one with this kind of mindset. But I'm really excited to see where this game is going to go, because this was a very impressive and very cool experience for a demo. So definitely check this one out if you want to try it out for yourself. We went through a really weird and crazy story moment when we were playing that on stream that you should definitely check out for yourself if you want to go through one of the weirdest experiences I've had in a while for a roguelike. And make sure to wishlist the game if you want to be updated on the game's full release. Thank you so much once again for sending us Hear My Cult and using the skip the line option. We really appreciate the support in helping the channel out. If you want to send us your roguelikes, full game or demo, feel free to fill out the form below for a chance to be featured on the future episode of the Next Big Roguelike series. And if you want to watch me play the actual full experience before talking about doing my rant, feel free to catch me live on YouTube. And yeah, that's about it.